Ready to sauce up your wings, brisket, and veggies? Try Georgia Mae's Buffalo Wing Sauce and Georgia Mae's Garlic Hot Sauce. Our do-it-all sauces make meal prep quick, convenient, and fun. The smooth finish of our delicious buffalo sauce coats every wing evenly, delivering a flavor-packed bite every single time. Try dipping for even more flavor. Our garlic hot sauce brings any dish to the next level. Shop online at bdscaters.com.
All right, that's our sponsor, Georgia Mae's. Who got the sauce? We got the sauce. Duval Sports. I'm Andre Ellis, and man, I got some special guests. I got part of the team here tonight, so we can talk about this mid-season. So I'm excited to have them here. This is our first time doing this. I know it's not going to be our last. Y'all have seen them out. Y'all seen their work online. I mean, it's just impeccable work. So I'm just excited to have with us Chandler Dassler and Christian Schultz. How y'all doing today?
Doing good.
Yeah, same here.
Now, listen, I mean, you both are athletes, so you both know sports. You both are photographers. So just in general, Chandler, just talk about being a baseball player and, how that brings some perspective to the game for you.
Yeah, for sure. Just being a baseball player and being there out on the field is just pretty amazing. You're with your buddies out there on the baseball field. I mean, it's kind of a job at the end of the day, but it's also fun to be out there, to be with your buddies, and kind of bringing that into photography. There's a lot of photographers out at every game, and we can meet new photographers out there, learn new things. Like, I've talked to Christian a couple of times on Instagram. He's taught me a few things these past couple of weeks, and it's kind of similar being a photographer, being in sports. It's kind of similar being out there on the field.
And Christian's taught me some things too, man. So he's awesome, man. So Christian, game-winning field goal kicker at Sandalwood. Just talk about how playing the game has brought a perspective, for you and being on the sidelines as well.
Yeah, so really just playing sports and then now doing photography, I know what players are looking for when it comes to pictures. And then same thing with like media people or anybody else. I know what people are looking for in a picture, if that makes sense. And so like I just playing the game for so long and having such a good idea of, like I said, what people are looking for, I feel like that really helps me out and kind of gives me an advantage.
It definitely gives you an advantage because, actually both of you, because some of your shots that you've taken, I'm like, okay, how do y'all know to get that angle? Like, Chandler, you had one this past week of Bolles, man. You got the water with the reflection, man. That was sweet. Of course, Christian, you got the catch. Who was that? Maddox? Spencer was Maddox?
Yeah, when he made the diving. Yeah.
That's the catch. Yeah, that was sweet, man. I mean, did you see it, Chandler?
Yeah, I saw that was a pretty cool picture.
Yeah, that was dope. That was dope, man. So, so that's great, man. That you both are taking your on-field experience to the next level, which definitely does provide that extra, insight of the game and being able to do that. So, all right, let's get into mid-season. So, we're in like week 6. Most teams have played about 5 games now. So, Christian, man, let's start with you. Just, who would you say is one of the more impressive teams that you've seen so far?
I mean, right off the top of my head, Reigns. I mean, Reigns has looked just unstoppable in every point of the game, whether the quarterback play, the receivers. There are so many weapons on that offense for TJ to throw it to. I mean, their offense has looked unstoppable. They just put up 60 points against Riverside. Their O-line is very, very good. Their defense has been almost even better. I mean, of course, they gave up 42 points to Riverside, which doesn't look great, but that doesn't really tell the whole story because they had several forced turnovers. Their defense is just flying to the ball every single time. Just they by far to me look like the best team. Now a close second is Nease. Nease has surprised a lot of people to me, especially because maybe some of the athletes don't really stand out. Like Rains has some 5 stars, some 4 stars. Nice doesn't have all of that, but they're still winning a lot of games. They're undefeated. They're winning big games, and they've stood out a lot too.
Man, yeah, like Rain seems like the biggest team I've seen in a long time. I mean, that front four on both sides. I mean, would you say that's probably the biggest offensive and defensive line that you've seen?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. I mean, just huge. So Chandler, I mean, what about you? I mean, one of the teams that you've covered that has stood out so far.
I mean, just like what Christian said. I mean, Nice, that's a pretty good team, and you've seen what they've done these past couple of weeks, just beating those good teams. Like they beat Buchholz these past days, and then last week they beat St. Augustine, and then down 21-0 or 21-7, whatever it was at half, to come back from that game. That was pretty impressive to see. And then also another team is Bolles. If you go out there and see Bolles, I mean, and there it is. There's Nate Harry right there doing his thing.
Yeah, man. That comeback, of course, Christian, you were there.
Yeah.
I mean, that was surreal. I mean,
that was special. I mean, that game was just electric. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that game.
Oh yeah.
Man, talk about Nice being down 3 touchdowns. Did you think they were going to come back?
No, their offense. I mean, their offense had no sign of life. Their first touchdown, I believe, was their pick 6 by Elijah Luckett, and it just like their offense just in the first half was just nowhere to be found. But in the second half, it's like they flipped a switch, and it just touchdown after touchdown after touchdown, and that's all it took.
I mean, what do you think Coach Draft said at the halftime? What was he saying to the team when you're down 21-0?
I have no idea, and that's why I'm not a coach, because I don't know what I would tell my team if I'm down that much.
Man, it was some choice words, I can tell you. Man, Man, Drafts is one of the best coaches that I've seen. And Christian, you and I have talked about that. And Chandler, if you've seen first of all, that video that you had of Nice went
that was good.
Viral. That was awesome, man. Before we get into Drafts, what made you do that video? That was nice.
So I just thought of just going to the huddle at the end of the game to kind of hear what the coach is saying. I wanted to record it. And I clipped some of it out, and I put it together and pieced it together. And that speech right there, that even fired me up. I wasn't even playing on the field. I'm just shooting it. And that kind of gave me chills just listening to what he said to those players.
Yeah, that fired me up too, man. Christian, did you see it?
After they beat PV?
It was Creekside.
Yeah. Creekside.
Then no, I don't think so. No.
Yeah. It's man, you got to see it, man. It gives you chills. And,
after the St. Augustine game, his speech after was really, really good. I remember that. I didn't record it. I can't remember everything he said, but just like his energy was just insane.
Yeah. Talk about Drafts, man. I mean, just the ability to dial up plays that seems like defenses can't can stop. Because in that second half of that St. Augustine game, Christian, it looked like once they got rolling, I mean, like you said, once Luckett kind of jump started with the defense, like the offense just started clicking.
Yeah, I mean, it was almost like they were just waiting for a spark, and it was the first play of the second half, and that's what it started. And then it stopped after that. It was just touchdown, touchdown. Nate Harry just caught fire. I mean, it was such a great game to watch.
And like you said, there were some really top players there. There's Carl Jenkins Jr., who you said it, man. You said, man, I got a feeling,
Yeah.
talk, because he from UCF.
Yeah, I mean, not really that much to it. At the game, I saw him wearing. I'm not gonna say what school, but I saw him wearing a different school's gloves.
You don't want to be, Adam Schefter and break the news to everybody on where you might go.
No, I'll let Carl do that.
Okay.
Plus, who knows? Who knows if he actually goes there? But I saw him wearing another school's gloves, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, that was cool. That was the inside scoop. And then days later, then he announces that he has decommitted from a school that he's been committed to for a while. So, and his teammate Lachlan Hewlett, he tweeted out, some like the eyes emoji. So who knows? They might be hooking up again. So
yeah.
All right. So what I want to do is let's go through our top fives. So Chandler, let's go with yours. It's right there down there at the bottom. So why don't you go through your top five and tell us why?
Yeah, so Nease, we kind of just talked about it. I mean, it's an unbelievable team, and no one thought they were going to be good this year. And even if you look at that video I made, Coach Draft says something like everyone in Jacksonville is going to be impressed, and except for these guys right here. And I think everyone knows who Nease is now, and that's why they're number one for me. Then I got number two is Bradford. I mean, Bradford, they come out playing Baker County, kind of a little rival game week one, and they come out with a dub. It's kind of a slow start, kind of a defensive matchup, but they come out with that dub, and then playing Mandarin when they got those 4 or 5 stars receivers, quarterback, and they come out there and beat them when Mandarin's the talk of Jacksonville, and that's why they're number two for me. And then I got St. Aug at 3. They've had a pretty good season, and then went into overtime with Nease, and that's why they're at 3 for me, just that tough loss. And then I haven't seen Reigns play too much, but you just look at their schedule, they haven't really played many big teams, many good teams, if you say something like that. They played Bolles week 1, and that was a pretty impressive for Reigns to beat Bolles week 1. And then I got Bolles at 5. Just if you go out there and see a Bolles game, it's all fit together. Their communication is great, and you can tell they practice hard at practice, and that's why I have them at 5.
All right. So what do you feel about that, Christian?
I think the teams that are in the top 5 are perfect, but I think they need to be in a different order.
All right. Well, why don't you tell us yours?
So going down the list, Reigns, like I said earlier, to me, clear number 1. They look unstoppable, and I can't think of another team in the Northeast Florida area that can really stop them right now. Nease, very close second, though. Like I said earlier, they don't have the size, the speed, the 4 or 5-star talent or anything, but that is a well-coached team. They are just on point right now. They're on fire. They've had such a good season, and I mean, that's why they're my number 2. Bradford at 3, I've yet to see Bradford play. I didn't see him this season or last season, just looking at the teams that they beat, like Mandarin, and they beat Baker County, right?
Yes, they beat
Yeah,
Baker County the first game of the season. It was like 14-7 or something like that.
yeah. But just looking at the teams they beat, I mean, they're undefeated. I put them in the 3 slot. I would like to see them play. I put Bolles at 4. Bolles and St. Augustine. I think you can kind of flip flop around. I give
They didn't
Bolles.
play each other, man.
That's what I was just about to say. Is that they could have played each other, but obviously the game got rained out.
Yeah.
The reason I give Bolles just the edge, just a little bit, is I think they're just a more well-rounded team. I think that they have. I think St. Augustine has a few more weaknesses in certain spots that can be exposed. And I think Bolles is just more well-rounded, more well-coached. This is a team that's played with each other for a long time, and I give Bolles just the slightest edge, but I think you can make an argument for both of them.
Now, before I give y'all my top 5, because I mean y'all know I do mine every Friday, a top 10. So this is gonna be a sneak peek for everybody. I'm gonna do my top 5, but both of y'all have Bolles in there. So Chandler, you recently saw Bolles twice. I mean, back to back. So just talk about what you've seen from Bolles. I mean, it seems like they're getting better and better. And Christian, you can chime in too because you saw him at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I mean, you have a guy like Ethan Drum. He's just a great quarterback, and he can hit the screen passes, and he can hit up to the deep passes, just like you're showing right now. You got a wide receiver like Naeem Burroughs. I think that's how you pronounce it. I mean,
Burroughs.
On Monday, I mean, he had 2 touchdowns. It was 2 or 3 touchdowns. One was a long deep pass, which I posted on Instagram. I was right in front of it. And you got a
sweet shot.
Yeah, that was a cool shot. And you got Ty Neal. I mean, that's another great receiver out there. I know I'm missing a few more, but if you got guys like that on the offense, then you're definitely going to score.
Well, I think my whole thing with Bolles' offense is people get so kind of like hyped up with Naeem and Chase out there, Malik in the slot. Like those are obviously great weapons. People put so much attention on them. Sometimes they forget about Emmett. I can't say his last name because
Grisman.
Yes. I think he is an excellent back that I think he gets looked over sometimes, but I think he's really, really good. And like I said, he gets looked over. I think he's like the perfect complement to that like explosive offense that they have.
Yeah, man. Emmett, man, I covered him in middle school, in St. Johns County. And he was running just like that, back then. So you're right. And then Chandler brought up Ty. So they have like this 1-2 punch where, okay, Emmett can pound you, and then they'll bring in Ty, who is a starting running back to me too.
Yeah.
So I mean, once they get rolling, and you saw that game against Oakleaf, Chandler.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think Bolles would be able to score that many points.
I agree, yeah.
But man, to like go back and forth and then put it in like a fourth gear to win it, and that was the same week as that St. Augustine game. I mean, both y'all had me on pins and needles, man, with that coverage. But talk about that Oakleaf game. Were you surprised that Bolles was able to pull it out?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised for both offenses to score that many points. I mean, Bolles scoring 57 on a defense like Oakleaf, and Oakleaf scoring 50 on a defense like Bolles. I thought that was kind of a shocker to me, and seeing that both offenses were doing their job. I mean, even if the defense isn't doing good, the offense still has to make plays, and both sides did that.
Yeah, I picked Oakleaf for that game only because Oakleaf lost on a last-second Hail Mary to Hawthorne.
Yep.
Hawthorne is a 2-time defending state champion. And Oakleaf been giving teams the business. I mean, you saw what they did to Riverside the first week of the season. So So for Bolles to come back and get that win, I mean, they earned a lot of respect from me.
Definitely. Yep.
So I will give y'all my top 5. So number 1 is Nease. So I agree with Chandler on that. Just their schedule has been the hardest. This past week they beat Buchholz, which I mean one of the state powers in the whole state of Florida. Actually, Buchholz beat them to knock them out of the playoffs a couple years ago. Then they beat Creekside, they beat Saint Aug, Ponte Vedra that first week. I mean, they just seem to like line up and say whoever is next, we're going to take your best player away, and you can't stop our offense. And so that's why they're number 1 for me. Number 2 for me is Bradford, and that's just because Bradford is they have the best defense probably in the state of Florida. So whenever you have a defense like that, you touched on it earlier, Chandler, what they did to Mandarin. Now Mandarin was without Trammell, but Mandarin has still been winning games with her 9th grade quarterback. Yeah. So, but they just completely basically shut them down in the second half.
Yeah.
So Bradford is my number 2. Number 3 is Reigns for me. Christian, I agree with you. Reigns to me is just an impressive team all the way around. I mean, where they have surprised me is the athleticism on offense with Timothy Cole and Adron Walker. Their running back, I think, is Washington. Is it? I mean, they've just been lights out on offense to go with that opportunistic defense. So they're number 3. Now I'm gonna put mine up right now, and I'm gonna put a team on here that you both didn't have. You know who it is?
Oakleaf.
All right. Chandler, what about you?
I didn't hear you. My internet keeps going in and out.
I mean, who do you think I have that you didn't have on yours? I mean, I think he's going out a little bit. Yeah. All right, so I'll put mine up, Christian.
My guess is Oakleaf, because if I had to make a top 10, I'd put Oakleaf at 6.
All right, there it is. You see it down there?
Mandarin? Yeah.
Yeah, man. All right.
Chandler, to me, it's
back, you see it, Mandarin? Yeah. Y'all ain't have Mandarin on there, man. What's up, man? I mean, Mandarin can't get no love.
It's just hard to gauge what their team is going to look like without Trammell, and they just got Jamie. They got Jamie back this week, which is obviously amazing. I believe they had another injury on defense. I could be mistaken by that, but they're just banged up, and it's hard to gauge where they're going to be at. Now, if they, we look back at this 2 weeks down the road and they're still blowing out teams, and they absolutely deserve to be in the top 5. But as of right now, it's just hard to gauge what it's going to be like right now.
All right, what do you think, Chandler?
I mean, I agree with that. I mean, having Trammell out, I mean, that kind of quarterback, and then putting a freshman in there under that big offense, I mean, I think that's kind of hard to do with a lot of pressure on that freshman. Knox, I forgot his last name, but from what I've seen, he is a pretty good quarterback. But being a freshman and being those types of games, I think that could be pretty hard for him and to get it going for the offense. And losing Jaime Ffrench, losing Jaime, I mean, that was a big loss. But him coming back this week, I think Knox will find him a few times these next couple of games, and I think Mandarin will be back on track.
All right, man. I'm waiting to jump in here, man. I'm waiting to come back at y'all, man. All right. So hear me out. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. Even with Trammell out, okay, they still have 2 5-stars. Tell me another team in Jacksonville that's got 2 5-stars. I'll wait. Even with Jaime out, they still got another 5-star. The other teams in Jacksonville got a 5-star. Only one, right?
How many does Bolles have? How many does Bolles have?
None. 0.
Is Naeem not 5-star?
He's a 4-star.
Oh.
He's a 4-star.
I know Solomon Thomas is a 5-star, but
yep, he's the only other 5-star in Jacksonville. Rings. So even with all those injuries, they still have a team more stacked than, I mean, you brought it up perfectly, Christian, about like Nease and how they're winning with, kids with no stars, kids with don't even have profiles right now. So I just think Mandarin, I mean, they're well coached. Toby Bullock is a great coach with a great staff. Bernard, is over there. Brandon Jennings, is over there. He played for Florida State. His daughter is a track star in Miami.
I don't think Jennings is.
Yeah, you remember Brandon? Yeah.
But I'm saying Jennings is.
Yeah, you played with him. You played with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you played with his son.
Yeah, I'm just saying Jennings isn't coaching there anymore.
Oh, he's not there anymore?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
But nonetheless, they still have a good coaching staff, and I definitely don't think it's a team that you can count out.
For sure.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong, that was a tremendous blow, and I predicted them to lose to Bradford, but I had to get mine in there, man. All right. So that's my little, sneak peek. So we've got about three more minutes before the time is up for us, but let's talk about a team that has surprised you all. Is there a team that has like you all didn't expect them to be either this good or this bad? And you can't say Sandalwood, Christian, because I didn't expect them to be that bad.
I mean, me neither. I wish they were. I wish they were good, but it's hard. It's hard.
Chandler, I'm a Saint too. I went to Sandalwood as well, so
I got you.
It's hard right now. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. So, but yeah. Is there a team that has surprised? Maybe they're not in your top 5 or maybe even top 10, but they're still pretty good. I mean, can I go first while y'all think?
Of course.
Yeah.
Beachside.
I haven't seen him play.
I haven't seen him. But...
Man, Beachside is putting up points. They got a quarterback, Jordan, who's like one of the top passers in the state. Have you seen if you've seen their pictures online, you see their players look jacked.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to play them. And this week, I think they played Takoi, don't they? I think.
Yeah, they do.
Good game.
That's gonna be a really good game. That's gonna be a really good game because Beachside, if I'm not mistaken, I mean I know they lost to Ponte Vedra, but they got a big win last week, I believe. Hold on, I'm pulling up now. I think who they beat? They beat Bishop Kenny 41-8.
Yeah.
And now Bishop Kenny lost to Terry Parker last week, which was a complete shocker. Okay. Because they played Bolles so well. You were at that game,
right.
Christian.
Right.
So, Bishop Kenny might not be the best gauge for Beachside, but yeah, Beachside is my surprise.
I think maybe besides the obvious Nease, obviously that's a big surprise. But besides them, I honestly might go with Decoy Creek.
Wait. All right, let's go back. So you're surprised that Nease is so good? You didn't think they would be that good?
I didn't think they would be undefeated. I did not think they would beat St. Augustine. I did not think they would beat Buchholz. That to me, I'm not surprised that they're good. I'm just surprised that they're undefeated right now, especially with the strength of their schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the most obvious one, but I would honestly probably throw Tacoya Creek in there. Now, obviously, I was at the game where they upset Bartram Trail, but it was just the way they beat them. Like it was like just every aspect of the game. It was just they were just looked like they're coming out firing in every single spot. And they might not have the most wins this season, but I think now, especially since they have Julio back and now their offense can really start cooking, I think that'll be a really surprising team for the second half of the season.
Yeah, man. I mean, Julio is a difference maker. He just really is, and I mean, he makes them look like a different team.
Like it's not even close. When you have someone that fast and that elusive, you can almost run your whole offense through him, and he's gonna make plays every single time.
And look at this play, yeah, like that play right there, like
Crazy.
Okay, go up and get it. I mean, to me, he's like one of the most underrated wide receivers in Jacksonville.
Oh,
the whole area
by far, yeah, definitely. And of course,
his first game back.
And they have a solid quarterback with Ryan Kilmer, and I think they got a really solid team.
Yep, and Julio was our player of the week. So if you saw the interview by Christian, he kind of gave it away as the player of the week for us, but he had 159 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. And he threw a pass in that game too, right?
Yeah, it was one of the first plays after the delay. There was a good 15-20 minute weather delay, and as soon as they came back out there, they let Julio throw a pass and caught them all off guard and went for about 40-50 yards. Yeah, it says on there 57 passing yards. Yeah.
He's a dynamic player. I'm glad that he was able to come back, and they are a different team. Now, before we get to you, well, you know what? No, Chandler, let's get to you, and then I have a question.
Right.
Depending on what your team is. So, Chandler, do you have a team? Maybe they're surprised because they're bad. Maybe they're surprised because they're good.
I'm going to say Fleming Island. I mean, the record says 3-2, but they had a tough loss versus Riverside, and then they had a tough loss versus Oakleaf, which I was there, and then they beat the good Ponte Vedra team, and they coming out week 1 beating Clay in a Clay County matchup, and I think it kind of impressed me a little bit. I mean, the record might not say it all, but if you look at the final score versus Riverside and Oakleaf, it was a pretty close game for Fleming Island.
Yeah, man. Now that's a good one because Fleming Island, if everybody remembers, they lost their head coach days before the regular season started. Mm-hmm. Chad Parker got let go, so they had an interim coach coming in, and so they had to just kind of learn on the fly. Now it's a familiar coach who was already in house, but still, I mean, both of you all are athletes, so just imagine if the head coach or the manager is gone, and everything that you listen to or adhere to is now changed because there's someone else in. So that's really a good one. I am surprised, but man, talk about Cibastian. Man, he's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a quarterback that can run it all the way to the end zone, you have a quarterback that can throw a deep pass all the way to the end zone. That's hard to do as a defense. You're not sure what the quarterback's going to do. He can either run it or he can throw a deep pass or a little screen pass. I mean, he can do both, and that's really hard for our defense to read.
Yes, Cibastian Broughton, Akron commit. I predicted he was probably going to put up the best numbers as a quarterback, just video game numbers. And like you said, because he can do all that. I mean, he's really probably one of the only quarterbacks that can do all that. Timothy Cole is a quarterback that can do that, pretty much as well. So that's a good one. So I'm going to tell you mine, real quick, before we go. I'm surprised this team is not as good. All right, so I'm going to go to other spectrum. Bartram Trail.
Yep.
I mean, Christian, you just hit on it. They got upset by Chacoy. That's Chacoy's first win against them ever. Ever. Outcast. And, but they've got the top rusher in the state, Arthur Lewis. I mean, Christian, that game you were at, he tore it up, right?
Yeah, he had so many rushing yards, at least 2 touchdowns. I know that for sure, maybe 3, but he's really, really good. And just historically, Bartram Trail has been just a powerhouse in like the Northeast Florida area. And it's very, very surprising to see them lose or even just have a down season in general.
Yeah, go ahead.
They have a tough matchup coming up soon. Don't they play Nease? It might be next game. I don't think they play this Friday that I've seen, but I think the next week they play Nease. That'll be tough for Bartram.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a real tough one there. Yeah, that's going to be a real tough one. This is here. That's Oakleaf. What do y'all think about Oakleaf? I mean, that was their last second loss to Hawthorne. But I mean, what do y'all think about Oakleaf?
Me personally, I haven't seen Oakleaf play this year or even last year, so I'll stay out of it. But just looking at their losses, the Hail Mary, which is crazy, and then a absolute shootout with Bolles. I mean, those are 2 losses that aren't bad losses at all, really. Like, of course, their record says 3-2, but those really aren't bad losses, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. Chandler, what you think? I mean, you've actually seen them.
Yeah, I've seen them 1 or twice. Can't remember, but the defense is good, obviously. If Chris Foy II, you give him the ball, he's going to go at least 5 yards every time. It seems like every time I watch him. If you give him the ball, he also got a good quarterback. What's his name? Jack
McKissick.
Yeah, he's a great quarterback as well, and he.
Yeah, Jack McKissick.
Yeah, Jack McKissick. He's a good quarterback as well. He can throw the deep pass. He can do whatever he wants, and if he needs to run a little run play, he's going to get at least 5 yards out of Chris Foy, and I think that's pretty efficient.
Yeah, they've got some ballers over there.
Yeah,
there you go. And this is actually this is Bartram that we're watching here. That's Jaden Weatherly. But Bartram has some players, but again, I'm just really surprised that they're not better than they are, because they have the top rusher in the state. They have Jaden Weatherly, who is one of the best quarterbacks. They have a top wide receiver, and they have a good top defensive back. So I'm really surprised at that team. I totally agree with you, Christian, that Oakleaf's losses have been so minuscule, by small margins. And it's I'm intrigued to see what that team is going to do. We actually played this one, so I want to get this team in here too. Right there, Creekside, man. Creekside seems like they are finding their groove. Would you agree?
I would agree with that. When I saw him play was it week 2 versus Nease? I honestly thought that was going to be like a 1-score game, but seeing that, I mean, the offense didn't really do their job at all, and they couldn't get it going. And we were watching Nease. They're really good defense, really good offense, but just seeing Creekside being like that, but then that first big win against Bartram Trail, I think they started getting it going from there.
All right, so we're gonna wrap up. Just the last question. Let's talk about players. Okay, it's the mid-season. I'm just throwing this on you guys. So y'all, they haven't prepped this, they haven't researched, but give me one player, one or two players that have impressed you the most this year. Christian, why don't you go?
Maybe this might be a little recency bias, and a little bit biased because I'm a Gators fan, but I'll say Tae Shaun Gelsey from Riverside. Of course, he's the Florida commit, but watching him play against, my number one Reigns team, he having 2 touchdowns and just an absolute monster. Like, there's some people who are, it's just like they're athletically gifted. Like, it's just genetics. They're born with it. And then there's some people who aren't, but they're talented and they make up for it. I feel like Tae Shaun is just both. Like, he is just the complete receiver, tall, fast, gets off the line quick, makes those contested catches. He's just, to me, the most impressive.
Yeah, Gelsey is amazing, man. 6'4".
Gotta be.
Yeah, he's 6'4". I think he's gotta be 220 at least, right?
Yeah.
Maybe 215. Like, just
around there, yeah.
Yeah. I would throw it up to him every time. Every time I just throw it up to him, man. Like, who's gonna guard him? Like, you got to put 2 people on him.
Have to.
Yeah, that's just something that you have to do. All right, Chandler. Real quick, player that impressed.
It's my first year covering football, so I'm still kind of learning every player. But Nate Harry just carrying that Nease. I just looked up his stats. He's played 5 games at 1,005 yards. He averaged 12.1 a game, and just running that kind of an offense with the great wide receivers, running backs they have, I think that's been pretty impressive, and I think it's been pretty impressive for everyone in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I don't think anyone had Nate on their radar before the season, and you can tell because Coach Drafts keep tweeting out that name. Nate is the man. I think he's really trying to wake up everybody to what his quarterback is doing.
Well, on top of that, too, is that they've had a different quarterback pretty much every year. 2 years ago, they had Frick. Or no, that was last year. And then they had the other kid that went to West Florida. But it's like every year they got a new starting quarterback, and that's just hard to do. A lot of teams, you have a quarterback who's starting there for at least, maybe a year, 2 years. I know, for example, Tramel's been there for all 4 years. You have a quarterback who's been there, knows the system, knows the team, has thrown to the receivers for a long time, but having a new quarterback come in 2 years in a row, that's hard, and it's impressive to see the start that they've come out to.
All right, man. Well, listen, you all can follow Chandler and Christian on Twitter. They're always at the games. Now, Chandler won't be at a game this week because he's at his own game. So, good luck with that.
Appreciate it.
But you all do exceptional coverage. I hope y'all have fun tonight, man. We got to do this again. So much fun that we actually went over the time that I said. But this was fun, man.
It was worth it.
It was fun.
Yeah, man, we gotta do it again. In fact, we gotta get the other crew on here too.
Yeah.
So they can be here. So thank you all, for tuning in with us on Duval Sports. Remember, it's duvalsports.com. We cover all sports in Northeast Florida, youth, middle school, high school sports, the first to do it. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Subscribe, like this, all right, and go get some Georgia maize, all right. All right. Good night, fellas, and thanks again. All right.
All right. Good night. Thank you.
Appreciate you.